S12 and S9.
I made the screenshot long to the right so you can also see the names, who's blue and who's red.
Yes, appreciate that very much. And then S2 and S8.
Okay, I think I can hear ourselves on stream.
Oh, hello everybody. We are back.
Welcome!
Sorry for the difficulties. And we are here with the ESSA Semifinals. It is ninerik versus kurtis, our final match of the winner's bracket for this weekend. Of course, we have a couple more matches, but we are already into this one, so I'll go through very quickly. We've had protects from kurtis, S1, ninerik protecting S4, and then kurtis banning S8 and S2, followed by ninerik banning out S9 and S12. I'm iFlame, joined by Freddy, and we are currently playing Last Words. At Last Words, of course, is going to be our S11, and it's going to be a bit more of a, it's like your no mods type pick for your control focused. And Freddy, welcome.
Pretty excited to be here myself. Seed 1 versus Seed 5 should be an absolutely competitive and strong matchup on paper. This late into the tourney though, who knows what the skill caps for both players will ensue. But right off the bat, we already have ninerik with a 6% lead through these finger controller sections.
Yeah, I believe this is ninerik's first pick, and this is definitely one of the harder maps in the pool in terms of accuracy, just because it does have that rhythmic element. And ninerik has been absolutely dominant this tournament. I think is probably the favorite to take the whole thing, and has looked fantastic. kurtis, on the other hand, qualified very high, got the 5th seed, did struggle a little bit in the round of 16, but looked great last weekend for 5-1 win. Now is recovering accuracy nicely, but it's going to need a lot to catch up to ninerik, who's still at a high 98.
Yeah. Accuracy tankings are much more frequent than scores tanking from misses and 100s, so especially since it's the accuracy win condition for this tourney, so
exactly. But I'm fairly sure this is ninerik's first pick, as kurtis finds yet another big drop here. Hopefully we get the gameplay back on screen for you guys in a second. There we go. 3% accuracy difference. We do have another very tricky section coming up in this map, but it's going to be tough to make up that much.
yeah, it's been around this 3% difference for the whole second third of the map, so while looked a little hopeful for kurtis from that small accuracy gap closing at the start, yeah, and you can already see how dire it is for kurtis on this map as we coming out of discussions on the picks and bans. 7% lead at the end of it all. Very solid first pick.
Yeah, very decisive victory. ninerik, on the other hand, banning out, I believe, the S2 in Fake Promise and S12 in My Half. And so also banning out some of the more tech-focused picks, which makes a lot of sense. kurtis, a very strong tech player, doesn't want to play some of those more technical maps, prefers to potentially stick to the speed, to some of the rhythmic control, and we are getting the S1 pick, it looks like. That is going to be Megalomania, very well-known map. This is 270 BPM stamina. Little surprised as Eater is picking this one into ninerik. This is the kind of map that I feel like ninerik has been very good on, very good at just a pure stamina. There is some aim control requirement as well to watch out for, but it's a very long map as well, so lots of places to drop accuracy, very, very easy to chain miss, but we should see closer accuracy overall between these two players.
Yeah, as you did, I do agree with like the surprising factor of that pick by kurtis, considering that these standard high BPM streams and like stamina maps are effectively like ninerik's comfort zone. But I'm pretty sure that kurtis picking into this feels confident on tapping it he has shown a lot of proficiency on it, like, throughout the week's worth of picks on these types of maps, so.
And already, we see ninerik off to an early lead, but kurtis looking much, much better this time around. Keeping up to high 97, does drop a little bit, but ninerik, that accuracy is looking fantastic. And it could decide it into the ending. Here we go into the aim focus section. The alt kurtis finding many, many misses, drops down below 98. ninerik, I think some of that was Boncho, but did find a few actual misses as well, down to 99. And kurtis finds another 5-6 misses on that section. The alt is deceptively tricky, and kurtis continues to chain miss. The accuracy absolutely plummeting. Meanwhile, ninerik holding strong at 99.5. And a third of the map to go. There is still time, but it's not looking good for kurtis.
Yeah, kurtis, having been dealt the short end of the stick throughout that whole section, those alt powers in general, it's brutal for both players, both of them missing and finding a couple 100s along the way. And the accuracy gap, yeah, as you said, from 1% to 1.5% now. 1/4 of the map left to go, and the rest of the map is more the stamina-intensive kind. You won't really be seeing too many of those alt sections later.
Yeah, and because there's so much combo in this map, every individual circle affects your accuracy a lot less. So, you know, the about 2% accuracy, for instance, feel like a lot, but on a map like this, it's going to take probably, I don't know, 20 plus hundreds for ninerik to drop that far in terms of accuracy. He does find one, but not nearly enough, as kurtis may be giving up the first break point of the match.
Yeah, this was always going to be an uphill. These types of maps were definitely going to be uphill battles because I believe ninerik came into this tournament as by far the best player at this type of flowing stamina, at this BPM especially.
ninerik has really broken out as one of the premier tournament speed player that you want to have on your team. There it is. Another point for ninerik with a very, very impressive 99.5. Has the next pick as well?
Absolutely solid performance all around. That you just look at this and like 98.16 is not bad at all. It's just you're playing against someone that's just way more comfortable. It's you gotta like think really hard at the drawing board when the time comes around for your next pick. And you're like kurtis is already feeling a little desolate about it.
Yeah. And you see kurtis, before the map started, said, "Surely I don't miss the entire jump section," and kind of was his downfall on that one. If kurtis had been able to get through the jump section, it would have been incredibly close, but even then, there's a good chance ninerik would have taken it regardless. S4, the pick from ninerik. It's going to be the Hard Rock pick, the Deceit. I don't know if there's too much to say about this map. It is infamous, and obviously it is 5 minutes long. Pretty long pool this week, but it's going to be 250 BPM, pretty much raw speed. This is a very big stamina test. So not too unlike the previous pick we saw. Obviously, very different map. We're kind of testing that same stamina skill set. It's just slightly slower BPM. And this is right up ninerik's alley. I believe this was the Protect from ninerik. It was.
Yeah, in that case, looking to be a relatively straightforward map for ninerik. But, you know, anything can happen.
Yeah, not sure ninerik needed to use the protect this early on. Maybe ninerik is thinking, okay, I've gone up 2-0. Just want to keep the momentum going, get my best pick. If I can go up 3-0, I'm in a really good spot. But I feel like there are other maps that ninerik would be strong on. Could potentially save the protect for later. But may not make a huge difference here, as it is both players dropping quite a bit of early accuracy. But once again, Kurtis finding more drops, about 2% accuracy down in the beginning. And these bursts are incredibly, incredibly dense. It is really just a speed check. There are so many notes to them. You have to be very consistent on the 250. Kurtis having a bit of a rougher time with it so far. The hard rock does give some added challenge as well, as it is OD10.
Yeah. And back into some more stamina-intensive areas again. Like, it's just a lot of stamina, followed by some alt sections that are relatively tame, and then you go back into some more stamina, and it just keeps flopping back and forth. You have to be prepared every single time, otherwise you're gonna end up going into the stream sections with a lot of 100s and 50s.
Yeah, Kurtis finding the miss, finding the full 100s on that stream section, but ninerik does find a few drops back. It is only 2 100s and a miss, so not going to be super consequential, and Kurtis finds another set of 100s, does recover it very nicely to not 100 the entire stream, drops a few more. Oh, and those are just continuous 100s from Kurtis on every single stream. I think is doing a good job to recover and not find 100s on the full stream. But even just your occasional 100, it's going to be a lot. ninerik finds a 50 and 100 as well, and it's ninerik now falling back, dropping all the way to 97. Kurtis recovering nicely. Both players now trading 100s pretty evenly on these last sections, but this is a very, very long map. The real test is going to be as we get later into the map, the players start running out of stamina, the accuracy gets much more difficult. And as we come out of that first really tricky stream section, ninerik holds a 3% accuracy lead, but plenty of time as Kurtis do not want to miss there on that alt section, drops a ton of 100s and is going to drop all the way down to 93.
Yeah, like, the solace about missing is like, while it does take accuracy the most out of all the types of penalties you could get, it's not as big in the long run as if this were just a normal score v2 matchup. But at the same time, it's like, you still need to double us as much of the map as you can, because ninerik does not want to give any ground, especially with this 3.5% lead.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The misses tend to be in isolation, but they do add up, and Kurtis just misaimed that entire section and finds another miss on the jump. This is not usually a part of the map that you expect most people to miss on, so Kurtis having a really rough time with the aim, and again, these misses, usually in isolation, they're not that bad, but this many misses really add up. ninerik does find a couple misses as well, but Kurtis had to have found about 10 misses. We get into a bit more of an aim control section, and Kurtis, that is almost an entire stream worth of 100s, followed up by a miss. The accuracy down to below 92 now, and it has all gone downhill for Kurtis. It's going to take a miracle now.
Yeah, this is really, really dire at the moment, and especially with that accuracy gap widening to 5%, as you were saying earlier. Very, very tense times. There's still much of the map left to go, but about 90 seconds worth. But okay, especially with that miss, that's just still not gonna go too well. And back into the stream sections we go, out of that jump section.
Yep. And once again, this is ninerik's pick, and it does find a few 100s, but so far in the lead, it has decreased to about 4% accuracy, so Kurtis making up some ground, but trades for 100s right back shortly after, and I think Kurtis is most likely just going to be out of time. There is about 45 seconds left in the map, but it's going to take a disaster from ninerik to give this one up, and I think it's going to be a 3-point lead for ninerik early on in this match.
Yeah. And like the thing is, like with Hard Rock, this isn't too bad of an accuracy actually. Looking at the Hard Rock leaderboards, this would actually put you in the top half accuracy-wise for Kurtis. But as for ninerik's accuracy, however, like that's the bad news for Kurtis. That would put him in around like the top 5 for Hard Rock accuracy. So yeah. Really rough map for Kurtis, but solid overall map for ninerik. Can't discount his performance over the past 3. That is a good lead.
Yeah, I mean, ninerik, that is one of the best accuracies on this map we've seen all weekend. Kurtis, a solid accuracy based on what we've seen from the other players, but against the 1 seed, it's just not enough. And I think if you're Kurtis, you need to get something going. You cannot afford to give up another breakpoint. But has already gone for S1, that protected pick, so doesn't have that open any longer. And it's looking a little rough. I'm not sure where you go here from Kurtis in terms of picks. I mean, potentially you're going to want to look for something more tech focused, but it's going to go for the S15. It's going to be right back into stamina as it is war. 2 minutes and 35 seconds of just kind of 243 BPM raw speed. So I would say less stamina intensive, but when you consider that they've just played 2 pretty stamina intensive maps, stamina could be a factor in this one. It is pretty dense, if I'm remembering correctly. And at 243 BPM, it is mostly just a speed test that has favored ninerik twice so far.
Yeah, he's relatively lower BPM than the other things, but obviously will be compensated by other things throughout the map. Definitely going to be a little bit more stamina intensive.
And with the 1v1s, the players are usually pretty quick about getting into the maps after they've picked. So normally you'd have a little bit more time to rest as, lineups get sorted out, picks get decided. But in these 1v1s, you don't have nearly that same time to rest between maps. So playing 3, kind of raw speed maps back to back, they're going to start to get a little bit tired. We'll see how that affects their accuracy. You can see there is definitely an aim control element to this one as well. And Kurtis actually off to a very, very strong start above 99. It is ninerik dropping down to 98.5. So for the first time so far in this match, it is going to be Kurtis off to the early lead. Needs to hold on for the rest of the map though.
Oh, and as
big drop from Kurtis.
Yeah, absolutely mis-aimed the entire start of the stream and missed around the first 8 and got 100s on the next 8. So that dropped him by about 1.5%. And that's going to drop him even more. Out of those back and forth jumps into the stream again, just not comfortable on that transition. ninerik, however, holds the 99 after being starting at 98.
Yeah, finds the slider big, finds the 50, but that's all he finds, and it's not going to be those kind of chain accuracy drops that we've seen from Kurtis, and that pattern is so hard to aim. Finds another couple misses, some accuracy dropped. We see Kurtis doing incredibly well on these more dense sections. It's just really struggling with the aim controls. ninerik finds yet another miss, but it's only the one miss, only the 100, and is going to be sitting strong at 9.5. There's a bigger drop, 4 misses down. Is going to be below 99 as Kurtis recovers back up to that 98 mark. There's another big drop from ninerik. This one is going to be incredibly close, but Kurtis needs to hold on. There's still half the map to go. It is anybody's game here.
Yeah, and this map is significantly shorter than the previous maps that we've been to so far, so every single accuracy drop counts. And Kurtis, again, on these back and forths, does find a couple misses, but to the transition to the streams, it's ninerik that drops, and now the lead is only 0.5% for him. Definitely not the closest, but it's closer.
I mean, lots of potential for big drops in the ending. All it takes is one drop pattern from ninerik, and it's going to go back over. Kurtis finds 150. It's going to hurt a little bit, but not going to be the ending. Kurtis there finding a big drop, does drop about 0.2 accuracy. But there is still time. ninerik could find the drop on these last couple patterns. Kurtis has been very consistent on these more dense bursts so far, but so has ninerik, recovering back up to 98. And the drop is just not there from ninerik, I don't think.
Yeah, I think that's likely going to be it unless something happens at the very last moment, but it doesn't look like that. He's just too comfortable on these cuts. And on the final space stream, no chain drops from ninerik. Kurtis does, however, by a 1.04% margin. ninerik takes that breakpoint, that very competitive one at that.
Yeah, I mean, it looked better from Kurtis. It was much closer, but at the end of the day, close doesn't matter. It is still a point on the scoreboard for ninerik, and Kurtis just needs to find that little bit of extra performance. Is now down by 2 breakpoints So we'll need to win 2 of ninerik's picks in order to bring this one to a tiebreaker. ninerik with a very quick S10 pick. That is going to be Silent Voyage to Eternity. And this one is going to be your CS5 precision pick. Quite a bit of aim control, quite a bit of aim as well. So quite different from everything we've seen so far. It is going to be 255 BPM.
Yeah, this map is an absolute classic. Many players have been playing this just for some DT passes. I know around 2017 or 2018 or so, the best of the best have been looking to get a DT FC on this. The closest we've had so far is a 4-miss from kurtis himself, and is also the highest act as well at 97.64. So that is the accuracy to beat for both of these players, in addition to beating each other's accuracy.
Yeah, that is the main goal. But of course, beating the global accuracy would be nice as well, as both players should start off pretty strong. The map is, let's see, 2 minutes and 55 seconds after DT. It is a pretty tame beginning, but it gets very, very quickly into the difficult part of the map. The finger control starts to really pick up here as we see both players dropping, but kurtis finds the bigger drop down to 97.5. ninerik, very impressive start, not having too many issues with the finger control so far as kurtis continues to drop the accuracy. Just a couple hundreds here and there, but once again, they really add up, now down to 96.5 as ninerik finds 1 miss, but holding a very solid 99.
Yeah, throughout the first 4, kurtis just having a fair bit of struggles. Especially on some parts of this where there's a bit of an awkwardness to the aim because of how you're supposed to tap each note on the jumps. And give you a couple misses, which while they don't mean much in the long run, do add up a lot. And then ninerik gonna chain miss a bit down to 98, but that's a long ways to go to the 95.67 that kurtis is holding at this break.
Yeah, the second half of this map is very difficult. There is a lot of places for ninerik to drop, but the question is, can kurtis both recover the accuracy and avoid any further accuracy drops? We haven't seen it so far, but it has to happen at some point. Once any chance in this match, ninerik, again, it's 1 miss, but the 1 miss alone doesn't matter. We need to see bigger drops from ninerik, and they just haven't been happening. But here we go into the second half. This is where the map really picks up shortly after this break, and this is where the real test for kurtis will be.
Here we go. It's about a 8.8% difference. ninerik gonna be finding a couple bits of a drop, but not too much, because the accuracy lead's still roughly the same, because kurtis also finds similar accuracy drops, but... And into the stronger part of the solo, and kurtis is going to be finding some more! ninerik doesn't drop as much in response.
ninerik, though, does find a few misses, is dropping that accuracy a little bit. It's within 2% now. This match is still within reach for kurtis. There is a few more patterns that we could see big drops on. So it isn't likely, is at the very least possible. But kurtis finds a few more drops, and I don't think it's going to be enough unless we see ninerik have a complete meltdown on one of these patterns towards the end, and it is kurtis who continues to find the misses. ninerik is looking like is going to be on match point, and I don't want to say too soon, but might have the best accuracy we've seen on this map.
Yeah, can't hold it to, or can't call it just yet, as you said, but about 0.2 above at the moment. Just depends on how the ending goes. He gets it. 0.31% above kurtis, who was the previous highest act, and now this would be the highest act, but this will score V1. Definitely a little bit higher because of how slider leniency works.
Yeah, super impressive score from ninerik, 97.95 actually with DT on this map. The current best act, or well, previous best act was, I believe, Arison with a 96.36, so beating that by a full 1.5%. And I mean, what can you do against that as kurtis? That is just such an absurd score that kurtis is playing very well.
Yeah.
But what can you do?
Yeah, it's difficult because that would be a top 10 accuracy, like on its own, but when you're fighting against Seed 1, you have to give like way more than 100%. It's just really, really rough. And now Kurtis, looking at this potential last pick, this is a must-win for him to stay alive. Now thinking about just what to play.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. It doesn't feel like anything has really worked so far. Is going to go for S5. Is going to be kind of aim control / stamina pick. It's going to be Abandoned Land, 240 BPM, so a little bit lower, but certainly just as fast as the maps we've seen so far. And Kurtis is going to need to pull out an absolute monstrous performance if he wants to have any hope of coming back here.
Yeah. Definitely. Gotta be looking forward to this.
Kurtis not going to be picking Yomiuri, which is an option.
An option for sure. Was probably looking to just coin flip one between those two, but now we're into it.
Yeah, I feel like Yomiuri with the ending favors the higher skill cap player, so I'm not going to pick for Kurtis. Instead, we are into Abandoned Land. Kurtis dropping more accuracy into the start, is just going to be down by 1% early on, but ninerik does trade quite a few 100s back and is going to even things right back up. Kurtis, once again, has a very solid chance in this map. He is going to be ahead by about 0.15% now.
Yeah, the main thing I'm worried about for these streams is that when it gets to the more space parts, that these players end up chain missing from no lock or whatever when they accidentally miss aim. But right now it's just all about the 100s. The number of 100s for both players, and Kurtis just slightly ahead of ninerik, especially as there's a couple more coming. And ninerik might have lost his footing a little. He streams a little too fast, actually, so now he's 2% down. Kurtis trades it back, tanks 1% on his own. And as you can see, it's been a street fest so far as we finally get the first set of chain misses from ninerik. Kurtis only dropping 100s in response, so he still keeps that lead. But there is a lot of 100s and 50s from Kurtis. Loses his footing, understreams a little bit, and at this 1/3 margin, ninerik ahead by 1.2%.
Yeah, this is one of the hardest maps in the pool. It does not get any easier. We'll start to see, I think, more accuracy drops for both players as we get farther into the map. The stamina really starts to get drained, but these kind of easier, more dense sections, we don't have to worry about the aim control as much as where you want to see both players keep the accuracy up. We do see Kurtis finding a slider break as well as a second 50, and is going to be about 1.5% behind now, but you know, we've seen Kurtis hold on to solid accuracy through the beginning. Yeah, has plenty of map left to make a recovery. We just need to see a couple chain misses from ninerik as we wait for the second kind of heavy aim control section.
Yeah, I was just a little worried that the stamina cap was coming in for Kurtis, but it doesn't seem like it now. It just seemed like a little bit of jitters on the relatively tamer section. It does look a little bit stabilized, but needs a lot more 100s, as you said, from ninerik to come out.
Both players aiming the patterns very well. They're finding a couple hundreds here and there, but no significant change in the accuracy lead. ninerik does find a few more 100s. They are traded back by Kurtis. That's going to be stable. Here, the streams start to get a little bit more intensive on the aim control. The spacing starts to increase massively, and it's a big question. Who will be the first to drop? Both players holding incredibly strong so far. There goes Kurtis. That's a massive drop, a full % of accuracy. ninerik holds on, and now it is all on ninerik to hold. This match is in ninerik's hands. Just needs to hold on for a little bit longer. Kurtis with another big drop, and things are falling by the wayside here. Time is quickly running out as ninerik.
Yeah.
What is going on? This is 1.5k combo on this map, 97.3. There's the miss from ninerik. but ninerik has done more than enough here up against Kurtis. 4% accuracy lead will seal the map, the match, and ninerik's trip to the finals.
Yeah, 6% now. It's going to need ninerik to just stop playing the map in order for Kurtis to come back, but like there are a good amount of chain 150s, but Kurtis also trades back a good amount on his own. Yeah, this section I'm pretty sure both players are just like absolutely like screw this patterning.
Yeah, the ending is just
yeah.
not playable.
Good game. 6-0. That is again a statement performance from ninerik. Still only one total map lost throughout the first 4 matches. And now he's got himself a date with aimbot Cone in winners finals to determine who advances to grands.
Yeah, aimbot Cone, 7th seed, really putting up some insane scores this weekend on the semifinals pool. And I feel that should be a pretty good matchup. Kurtis, of course, will be in the finals as well. Just has to go through the losers bracket and will be facing the winner of, I believe, Xylus and Window Life. That match will be tomorrow at, I believe it's 20 or 19 UTC. That is going to be our last match for today. Tomorrow we have 2 matches to go. Welter versus Rafis, 13 UTC, and Xylus versus Window Life at 19 UTC. Those are going to be some very good ones. Big congratulations to ninerik. And I have to say once again, Kurtis did not perform poorly at all. Had some really solid scores, but against ninerik playing this well, there's not much you can do. And we have our winners finalists locked in now. But that will be it for us. Freddy, anything you wanted to add?
It's just that all these matches, like, sometimes when even though some of the matchups are lopsided, like the person that doesn't perform or that performs worse, just like is still performing good overall, as he said. It's just frustrating to perform against what is effectively the front runner to win by a large margin. But anything can happen. We got to see how both of these players perform next weekend. It's definitely exciting. Top 6, nothing to be ashamed about.
That is how it tends to go in a tournament as stacked as this one. Sometimes good scores are not enough. You need the best scores. But that will do it for us. A massive thank you to Scotty for the stream, Freddy for commentating with me. I've been iFlame, and of course, thank you guys all for watching. We'll see you all tomorrow. Take care.
Bye.